I'm subbing in for Rhonda. She is up in Oregon visiting with Stone Coat Countertops. So we're going to play with some alcohol dyes today. And I want to talk a little bit about prepping, playing with, and possibly just kind of learning how to play with this stuff. So I'm going to put this to the side and go back a little bit further. Let's see. So normally when we do alcohol dyes for countertops, you're going to do them on an epoxy covered board already. You'll let this cure for at least 24 hours before you do any kind of alcohol dyes. Now, what if you're not familiar with the product, you want to play with it, you want to get kind of acquainted with it, so to speak? So there's some ways you can practice with it. And I have a buddy, Keith from RK3 Designs, who came up with a brilliant idea, and I wanted to share a part of that with you. So now I want to emphasize over and over again that this is only for practice use only. So what he did is he did a round. Actually, I think it was a sink sink area that he cut out, and it was already epoxied. And then he just added the UTC, I believe, gloss on there. But we've tested it out, and matte also works. And that's kind of like a little practice prep board, so that you can do alcohol dyes on top of it, and then when you're done, wipe it off, practice again, wipe it off, practice again. Now, I will say this much. Sometimes the dyes will change colors a bit when added to epoxy. So if you are working on a board for a client and you're very familiar with how to work with the dyes and all that, I would definitely encourage you to do it on an epoxy board like you would, you know, setting up a sample for the client. Because sometimes dyes will separate and you may get a color that you didn't see it to the visual eye, but once you start mixing it with alcohol, it may come out and stand out really strong. Like I worked with a really nice, it was a blue-green color, and all of a sudden this bright lime came out, and we're like, where did the lime come from? And it was just one of the colors they used to make the color. So if you're dealing with a client and she wants soft blues and maybe a little bit of aqua kind of thing, lime green is not what you want. So always, always, always do a sample board the way you would send it to the client. Whatever colors you're going to use on that board, you do on that sample board. So, but in the meantime, we're going to play and practice and get used to the alcohol dyes. And so we're going to use this already resined board with UTC on it. So Rhonda wanted me to make sure that I emphasize it was practice. Because if you like this and you want to send this out, it's not recommended that you put epoxy over top of the UTC. That's just not going to work. Okay. So what I am dealing with here, and I want to bring it back into play here, is some of the colors I work with are pre-dissolved paste. They're like little coffee grinds, and they're highly pigmented. They're kind of like mica powders, but highly pigmented, and usually with a little bit of a sparkle to it, just like mica powders do. And you dissolve them in alcohol, and I usually pour in, for example, I'll pour about, you know, the right amount of alcohol that fits in this bottle into a paper cup, add some couple scoops of the resin art, you know, with just your basic, you know, popsicle stick, mix it up, pinch the cup, pour it back into the bottle, and away we go when using this. Now, when you use the Alumilite dyes, however, you can pour the alcohol into here and add about, I would say up to about 4 drops, no more than, to create your colors. Now, I've got some different colors recipes that I'm looking into. And Mikey, we were going to start doing lives, what, next week, we think?
Yeah.
Because we got some exciting stuff that we're working on, so we definitely push the lives back. But we're going to start releasing some recipes and stuff like that, so we're really excited about that. Also, some other colors to work with is different metallic either mica powders, like the Just Resin mica powders, or even some of the pinata colors, which are alcohol ink, the metallics, the silver and the brass, I recommend. But I don't use a whole lot of alcohol inks because they have a tendency to fade. They're not light fast, and we don't want that. So, anyway, on with the fun stuff. So, basically, when you're working with alcohol dyes, they're a lot like watercolor. Watercolor will move on a bed of water, and you get to be able to manipulate it. The colors will move around lightly in there. And then as soon as the water dries, then the colors stay in position. Now, the cool thing about alcohol dyes is that you can reactivate it when you apply some alcohol to it. And you can continue to work on a piece, you can continue to build up a piece. So, let's get started.
Christy's liking how it's going so far.
Okay, because I'm nervous. It's Rhonda. You know, you want to make sure you do a good job for Rhonda's channel. Okay, so I usually start with a bunch of alcohol in the beginning. In fact, I should probably put on some gloves. And this is just so that the colors have a chance to move around on the board nicely. Like resin, there's only so much you can do to, I guess, keep the colors where you want them. You just learn how to work with the material. So this is one of the colors that I'm working with right now. So it's in process, and I'm trying to do a Rhonda Aqua too to make Rhonda happy. So I'm not sure this is the final recipe, but I'm working on it. And that's an espresso. And I also like playing with interference colors because they give a really nice shimmer and play with light. So what we're going to do is I'm going to apply air, and it's going to push the inks to one side, or the dyes to one side. And then when I push air this way, the dyes will move to the other side. It's kind of like what I call herding sheep. Until we get what we like.
Erica says, don't be nervous.
Don't be nervous? Yeah, right.
You got this, lady.
I know her. She's nervous every time she does this, too. And if you like how it's looking at the moment, all you can do is pull up on your dryer and dry from a little higher. And so that way it doesn't continue to move your color around. It just helps evaporate the alcohol. So when I created my sample board, I did some areas where I fogged it different colors, like some golds, undertones, and some blues, and some grays, just like a regular sample board would have, just to see what the colors would look like on top. Alright, I'm going to add a little bit more blue. Fan it out that way. And I'm working with 91% alcohol, the same kind of stuff we would use with resin.
You have a question?
Yeah.
I was trying to do a rose gold, and Erica mixed one for me, but it's not anywhere near like the 007 or the silver. Do you have any suggestions?
A rose gold, huh?
I also had issues with the white aluminide dyes, but black did well. Do you have any suggestions on that?
Now, to be honest with you, I haven't used the white aluminide dyes as far as an alcohol dye technique before, so I don't know how that would work. Usually white pigments within dyes or inks has a tendency to be a lot heavier and react a little bit differently, which is probably why I avoided it in the first place. Now, rose gold, okay, I usually like to point everybody towards Erica with rose gold, but there's also another product. It's called Mayron Rose Gold, and you might want to give that a try, or just try mixing some Illuminate with some different pink tones, just barely anything. It's just a matter of probably experiment. I think rose gold's one of those kind of colors that everybody has their own interpretation of what it should look like. You can either go really champagne, really pink, or, you know, sometimes even real wine-like with the colors.
And Art Geek Teaching says, how much alcohol do you mix with the dye and pigment when using Illuminate?
With Illuminate, these little bottles are about 1 ounce. So I almost fill it to this ridge line here, which I'm assuming that's the 1 ounce mark. And that way, since I'm only adding up to 4 drops of ink or dye to it, it's not going to add that much more to it. So pretty much fill up your bottle. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of the aqua over here, I think. Just to get it light. And then some of the brown in a couple spots. And of course I dripped it on my board, which is great. So as you can see, you can easily do very light areas of color. So if your client just wants a hint of this color or that, just by applying a little bit more alcohol ink, a little less color, you can get those very light areas. And once it dries, you can soften out the edges so it just looks like little wispies too, which is really, really pretty. Or continue to build if you want more color. Keep going. Alright, and since I goofed up here, I'm just going to go for it and add a little bit more. And then I've got one of the bottles here that I think it's like a 3 ounce bottle, but it makes it easier to manipulate when you're just doing a little bit. And I can almost get it to go up that path if I wanted to, just by doing the pressure in this direction and just slightly dancing it back and forth. And you notice it's kind of reactivating the colors underneath. And it automatically will start blending, and it looks like it's been there all along.
Should the hairdryer be on cool or have heat to it?
I've got it on a warm. You could tell this is a really fancy dancy hairdryer. I've got 2 settings. I've got a low and a high. I find the high just blows a little bit too strong for me. Some people like it high. I think Keith has a stronger hairdryer, and he puts it on high and he blows it almost straight down. But he's trying, you know, he's finding his own technique. It's kind of like working with a heat gun. Some people like the change in temperature, and some people don't, and they just learn how to use and manipulate it with what they've got. So I'm going to soften out some of these lines areas here. So if I want to soften out an area, I'll add alcohol here. I push it over to this direction. It reactivates these colors, and then I'll bring them out and then kind of bring them back and bring them back out again. And it'll it'll soften that line up really nicely. So you see how they're reactivating right in there?
Joanne also has another question.
Yeah.
How long do these dyes keep in the bottles? I made some for a small bathroom counter back in the summer. Are they still good?
They should still be good. It's solvent-based material. And so far I've had some in the bottles for over a year now with no problem. I usually put in like a little BB, like a stainless steel BB in there, or you can get like little paint mixing balls just to help you agitate it up. The solution will probably sink, and it's kind of almost like a gel-like fluid, the aluminite dyes themselves, and so it may take a little bit to break it up, but the balls will definitely help out with that. What do you think? You think I need to add a little bit more brown to this, or keep going? What are the thoughts here? Can you see any of the shimmer from the interference color?
A little bit.
A little bit? I think I'm going to soften this edge up. I usually go very bold, so it's hard to be restrained. And I try to challenge myself from time to time. I find I do better. All right, let's see. I'm going to do a little bit of dark.
Keep going, Mama.
Keep going? Is that what they're saying?
Yep. They love the interference too. Or Erica does.
Erica, of course Erica would like it. Definitely. And that's the color passion interference on that one, the blue pearl.
So what is interference color?
Interference messes, the best description I can give is it messes with light. So your colors here, let's say your color is let's just say it's a strong blue color. And then when the light hits and you're looking at it from another angle, can they see my hands?
Yeah.
Okay. You might see a purple hue to it. Chameleons are one of those that you see the blue, you see it from the side and maybe look purple. You see it from over here and it may have another color like a green. And who knows, maybe from this direction I'll have a gold. So you'll have multiple shifts.
Is it like a dye or a color?
It's a mica powder, yeah.
Mica powder.
It's a mica powder. It's not, yeah, it's not, definitely not a dye. What are your thoughts?
So, Skowski's was saying the white aluminite clumps in the bottle.
Uh-huh.
I shook and shook and never broke down.
Uh-huh.
But I think she's right. It's so thick.
It is so thick. I may have to try and play with it a little bit. I honestly don't know. So, I'm curious on that part. Now, if you want a color to be lighter, just add less aluminite dye. And, like, for example, okay, I'm going to go bold here. Let's see. I'm going to add just alcohol here and adding just one little drop of the color. Now, granted, this color, can you show right here for a second? This color right here is called espresso, so it's really, really dark brown. Now, by adding it with the alcohol right here, it will dilute down quite a bit and be really soft and hardly noticeable. So that's one way to think about it. You're working with a concentrated color, and by adding your alcohol, you can lighten it up. I just want to make that disappear. There, you can hardly tell. But that is it in a nutshell. Let me show you some other boards that I use for playing with alcohol dyes that you could do at home if you didn't want to do an epoxy board. There's a common paper called Yupo. And the cool thing about this is that when you get a piece that you really, really like and you're working with a client project and you're practicing before you're ready for your sample board, you might even be able to give one of these to your client as a gift afterwards. And all it is a plastic-like paper. So alcohol dyes like a slick surface, which is why they do really, really well on epoxy. And if you search on Amazon and you look up alcoholic paper, you can also get packs like these, and I think this has like 25 pages per pack, so it's very inexpensive. I think this was $15. So there's a lot of easy ways to practice.
So Vicky says, you seem to have a lot of working time. I tried it a couple times. It dries up on me so quick. What's your secret?
I'm not worried about adding more alcohol if I need to. I also used a lower setting so it doesn't evaporate as fast. And I'm just using a little travel hair dryer, which is not putting out a ton of heat to begin with because it's a little bitty travel hair dryer. You know, that might help you out a little bit.
Will these colors be available on your website?
I'm hoping all the colors will be available on the website. I've got about 30 that I've got working on right now, so that's quite a bit.
Erica's pretty much saying it better be.
It better be, yeah. She's got the whip behind me right now. She's like, you better be working on it. So we have been ordering stuff like mad and working on recipes, and yeah, a lot of stuff's happening.
It is on our top priority.
Yes, definitely. So I will be working on some lives coming up. We postponed it for 1 week, so we're going to start next Monday. And we're going to do a live every day and share. We're going to do what we call a 3-color piece and do 2 recipes and then show a bonus color like a silver, a gold, or an interference and such. So that way you run off with the recipe, or those that are interested in buying those particular colors can do so. So yeah, a lot of options. Any other questions? Because we could wrap this up pretty quick, actually.
Yeah. Scoutkey says, with a drying quick question, do you think the 70% alcohol versus the 100% makes a difference?
Yes, it makes a huge difference. There's a little bit too much water in the 70%. So it doesn't work real well. I know Erica tried it out, of course, from 2020 when alcohol was a little on the, it was hard to get a hold of it. So, yeah, it doesn't work really well. You want to change the angle? Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm definitely covering this. When you're done with your piece, whether it's paper or your final project, not necessarily with your practice piece. So not on the practice piece. But if you're working on a final epoxy board that you want to send to your client, do not do it over UTC, just do it over epoxy. Make sure the epoxy is cured for at least 24 hours. But you do your alcohol dye, and if you're using any kind of mica powders or just any dyes, make sure you seal it down with a couple light coats. I use the archival spray from Krylon. Can you see it clearly? But I've also heard that a matte, just a regular matte clear spray will work as well. Matte's important because the gloss also has alcohol in it and can reactivate your piece. And that'll make you really sad if that happens. So I usually wait about 4 to 6 hours kind of thing. And then I'll go put a layer of epoxy on top of it when I'm done. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Erica's on top of it.
Erica's on top of it? Okay, wow, she's pretty quick on this part. We've been doing, we just got through wrapping up a pro class with Rhonda, and We did a demo of the alcohol dyes. Erica did a demo with the ocean resin pour that she's known for and fabulous with. So yeah, if you guys come check out the pro class, you never know what you're going to get with that. And you know, this last time we had so many different people show up. We had obviously Mitch was there with Stone Coat. He hadn't shown up in a long time, and then all of a sudden he's been at the last 4 or 5 of them. Obviously Erica and sometimes Jeff is there. I'm there. Bruce was there. He was a cool dude. And Keith from KCDC Designs. So there's a lot of talent that comes and helps out with Rhonda. So I definitely encourage you guys to check that out. So, all right. I guess I'm going to...
Actually,
guess what?
GSPT Woos says, I have a question.
Yes.
Why don't you do this more often?
Do what more often?
You're great at it. The lives.
The lives? Well, thank you very much. I'm a nervous wreck. So, I'll gladly fill in for Rhonda anytime, but I'm going to work on doing some lives for myself, so check me out. Claire Lawrence. I have my own channel, and I am known for doing, well, dragons. And I will apply all of this stuff to boards and create illustrations on top of them as well. So I go and take it to another level. All right, we're good?
I think so.
All right. So let's see. Uh-oh. I'm trying to... Oh, gosh, I'm trying
Rhonda says...
Huh, Rhonda says?
She's welcome anytime to do these.
Aw. Thank you, Rhonda. Rhonda and Kenny are super duper people. They are the kind of caliber of people I want to surround myself with. The best way to describe it, they're the kind of people that would give their shirts off their back. You know, always there, very, very genuine, both of them. Actually, the entire group that I just explained are like that. And, yeah, that itself alone is worth being a part of this group. So, thank you, Rhonda. All right, I'm going to head out. Check out RK3 Designs. Check out their, let's see, RK3 Designs on Facebook. There's the Insiders group also on Facebook. And then my website, clairelawrence.com. You got anything to add? You look like you're chomping at the bit there. Now, in the background, that is Mikey, my son, and he is helping me out. So, all right. There you go.